we go.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 9:08 a.m. And it looks like everybody is here. And who do we have in attendance, Diane?
We have Anthony from 23 Granite, which is item number 15. John Bowie from Sweetclover, 22 Sweetclover, which is item 10. Emily from JWR Designs for 17 Rocky Ridge, which is item 6.
Okay. All right, great, everybody. I appreciate your coming in attendance today. The first thing we want to do is item number 1, approval of today's ACC meeting agenda.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, and on that, I would like to make a motion to amend today's agenda to add a new item 16, which would be new business. And for that, we take into discussion of electing a new chair. So I need to get a motion on that, or I made the motion can I get a second on that to amend the agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, that's by Keith and Joe Jean. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I should have asked all in favor on the approval of today's ACC meeting agenda. We didn't. We can go back to that now and approval of the amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay, unanimous. Okay, the first thing we'll do is we'll jump down to item number 10, which is 22 Sweetclover Circle. They're in attendance, and is that Anthony or
No, John.
John?
Yes, sir. This is John.
Oh, good morning, John. Appreciate you being online here this morning. Let's see, we're going to jump to item 10, and let's take a quick review of what you got here, John, and then we'll let the committee ask any questions. Oh, this is a replacement of the current deck. Okay, yep. Okay, guys, did you have any questions or comments on this from the committee?
No, it looks like it's county permit pending. So any technical details would be ironed out, I assume, through that permit.
That is correct. That is correct. So yeah, our only concern was lot coverage, and Daniel, you brought up a great point. So county permit pending, so they'll be reviewing lot coverage and everything for your permit. So can we get a motion then?
Move to approve with the county permit.
Okay, that's Daniel. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, that's only Patrick because he was louder. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's been approved with the comment that you do obtain that county permit and that they'll verify that your lot coverage is fine on your deck. And so you've been approved.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time this morning. Okay, next we'll jump down to item number 15, which is 23 Granite Circle. I thought, and they're in attendance this morning. I thought we actually approved that. Let's go check.
Yeah, I'm here. This is Anthony.
Item number 15. Yeah, so we were just looking for additional information on that. I think you satisfied at least what I was looking for. We'll let the rest of the committee chime in on that. But guys, did you have any other questions or comments on 23 Granite Circle for the parking?
Yeah, I was interested in the 2-foot retaining wall. Is that all you're going to need to make complete this?
Yeah, so it's 2 feet down when I measure the 10 feet in.
Okay.
From the road. One of the diagrams kind of shows I drew a vertical line showing the 2 feet drop.
Okay. And is that going to require a footing, or are you just putting some blocks in there?
I'm going to use the concrete blocks that there's an image of later in the proposal.
Yeah, I see that.
They have the little steps. And so each of them, I think, is about 6 inches. So there's going to be portions of the edges where the larger drop off will be 3 or 4, but other parts will be just 1.
All right, so what we were looking at, the only reason why we ask is we're all thinking it's going to be more than 2 feet. But if you measured it, then we'll go with that. But yeah, I was just like, wow, 2 feet looks like it's going to be closer to 3 feet. But of course, as long as it's not over 4 feet, including the base, you don't need engineering or county permit. So we were just curious on where you came up with that 2 feet. So you sound like.
Yeah, I measured it and I think the confusion was from the original question. I thought you were asking how far it was like a drop all the way down, but I'm not going all the way to the back. I'm just going about halfway, as in the picture.
Yep. Okay, any other questions or comments, guys? Concerns?
Okay, I move to approve.
Okay, that's Patrick.
This will have to go through Sudden Valley though, right?
Yes, so yes, this will have to go to, that's correct. It'll have to go to Sudden Valley maintenance because it's going to be in the ROW, the right of way.
Okay,
So the motion on the table is moved to approve by Patrick. With that comment, by the way, Daniel, thank you. And then we need a second on that.
I
I'll
second.
Okay, they got to go with Daniel. He was louder. And then so
Sorry, Judgy.
comment. Thank you, Patrick. Daniel, for adding that. But yes, that comment does have to be added. That it's in the right of way, so it does have to go through Sudden Valley for their approval. But you have received ACC approval. Now you just meet with Mike, and he'll just go through what formalities you might have to do with them. But you've been approved.
okay, thank you.
Thank
Did
you,
we-
man. I appreciate your time this morning.
Did we vote on it though? All we have is the motion and the second. I don't think we voted yet.
Oh, I thought we had. I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
And Anthony, we'll be forwarding that to Mike, who is the maintenance director, and he will be going out to your property and looking, and then you'll get a letter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Okay, let's jump up to item number 6. They're in attendance. That's JWR for 17 Rocky Ridge Drive. Item number 6. Go ahead. You had a question, Joe Jean?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
Wayne arrived.
Okay, so is Wayne in? Yes, he's in attendance. Okay, good. Yeah, so the 17 Rocky Ridge Drive, what they've done is actually kind of going to create a problem. So what they're suggesting they want to do is delete the second floor, reduce their second floor, change the garage that's downstairs. It's supposed to be part of the, garage structure, and change that into what effectively is looking like an ADU. So they're going to get rid of the 2-car garage, or it says to get rid of only has 1-car garage now, but I believe it's going to be a 2-car garage that's left, and the 1-car garage side is being taken up and converted it to a basement suite area. So a couple of problems with this: in Sudden Valley, we don't allow ADUs.
Yeah, they don't allow ADUs at the county either. So this has actually been approved by the county, and the zoning doesn't allow for an ADU here. So this is actually just additional living space and not an ADU.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but in all intents and purposes, when we look at it, it's got a separate entrance. Did it have access to the interior of the house? Like to the second floor, to the main floor? That's a question for you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Emily,
Emily, is that got access to the second floor?
Yes, it has access through the garage to the laundry room.
Yeah, only through the garage, right? So it's going to be a problem, and I'll tell you the way it's submitted now, and this is just me talking. I'm sure the committee is going to chime in on this. It would have to be denied as submitted, because right now it just stands out as an ADU, right? That's exactly what it looks like. You got a separate
Can
entrance.
you explain where the code requires that? Yeah, what qualifies it as ADU? Just because you think it looks like one doesn't mean it is one, because we're, like I mentioned before, this is required by the county and obviously by you guys too, to not be an ADU. So that's why we're not doing an ADU. We're just doing additional living space downstairs. So I get what you're saying, but this is not an ADU because it cannot be. So we're not proposing an ADU. We are just proposing additional living space. So I get where you're coming from, but I also disagree that it does follow the code actually. So
Yeah, and the only thing that separates this from an ADU right now and not is a cooking surface, right? And you know that very well. obviously, otherwise it would have shown a cooking surface in here. So
Exactly,
you
yes.
so you can't have a cooking surface to be considered by the county an ADU. However, we're an HOA and our HOA is very specific on that. I'm very clear that it's not allowed. And so what we're trying to avoid is to have an Airbnb, right? Or something along those lines, or an actual rental, right? So you got your house, and I assume you're selling this. I don't know if it's for you or it's a home for sale. I assume it's been changed.
Yeah, I'm just representing the owners. So the owners are gonna live here. They're not gonna sell it. They
Yeah.
will be in there.
Yeah, I
They're
figured
just
it's being
family.
changed
Yeah.
specifically for someone. So it's just being set up as an ADU. And so the problem, what we don't want to do is have it fall into that. Like all of a sudden now you get approval for this, what is it, rec area, right? We'll call it a rec area. I don't know what it's called. I think rec room, rec area. And all of a sudden 2 years from now, it is an ADU. And all of a sudden now,
Yeah, I think the idea would be that, hopefully in the future, either one of their children could be down there and have their own separate space, or, one of their elderly family members, or something, we can't have an ADU, so,
Well, one of the issues that I see with it is, I mean, it looks like a duplex because it has the two front entrances. It looks like a completely separate space, and it looks like it from the drawing that it's designed to be pretty separate. And I think that's where we're concerned.
correct.
One of our concerns here with our committee is appearance, and it does appear to be a duplex, a double, for two families.
yeah, I get where you guys are coming from, that it looks like an ADU, but it is not, because like I mentioned, it can't be. So, I get that you guys say it looks like it, but we can't go based on what it looks like. What it actually is not an ADU, not a duplex, not anything like that, because it's not zoned for a duplex. It's not zoned for an ADU, so we can't do that. That's not allowed. So we're not proposing those things.
Is there any reason why it can't be integrated better with the rest of the house as far as ingress and egress? Because I think you said you can only get to it through the garage. Is that correct?
Yeah, through the front garage, through the front door, and through the 2-car garage that's left. I assume it's a 2-car garage that's left, or a 1.5-car garage or something that's left. There's a man door in there that'll go through into the space.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the only other space I saw as well, Daniel. So yeah, that's our concern, right? As you can see, that it is an ADU. I mean, even though I know what you're saying, it's technically doesn't reach that point because there's not a hot plate in there or cooking surface, which could easily be changed in a heartbeat, right? We know that. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's an ADU with a separate entrance, no access to the interior of the house. So it becomes a separate living quarters is basically what you're proposing.
So, I guess my question is how, when so I'm representing the owner, right? So when I explain this, how do I explain this to them? Because, they are not doing an ADU. They're not doing a detached living space,
Okay.
detached area. So how do I explain, like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't, because they're not trying to do an ADU. They can't do an ADU like I
Yeah,
mentioned.
I understand what you're saying. So if what you're saying is absolutely true and correct, and their intent and purpose is not to use it for an ADU, it strictly is going to be like a rec room or something like that, right? Or you might have guests and hold a cards
That
game,
is the
something like
intention,
that.
right? They're not
Right.
doing ADU. Yes. You're
So
right.
what I would recommend on that is we can get some language drafted, but it would have to be drafted in such a way that the owners would have to sign off on it. It would be part of like the title basically on the house, that that cannot be an
Yes,
ADU. And if it becomes an ADU, there will be substantial penalties.
we'd
And I would
love
say,
to do that and review that with them. That's a great idea.
yeah, and this we would go after those penalties. I can tell you right now, they're very not happy about anybody trying to do ADUs here. We've had a couple of them trying to do that now. And so it is
Yeah,
a
we are
problem.
not trying to do an ADU. We know it's not allowed, so we're not trying to do that. So yeah, that's a great idea to have them look over something to sign it. I think that's a great idea.
All right, so what I would just recommend then to this committee, and it's still up to this committee at this time, because I agree with Daniel, and we've already talked about this, right? We've looked at this, and we're concerned about the way it looks and what it's going to be used for. So I would recommend at this time that the committee So here's the thing, Emily, is we're asked not to defer things anymore because it's created some issues. So typically I would defer this item so we can get the information that the general manager and what the Sudden Valley Association is going to be looking for, right? How they're going to want that drafted and worded. And that's going to take, maybe a week or so for you to agree with it. However, you know what, I'm not sure what all has to be done. That's a general manager would have to do this. But because they don't like to defer because of the issues we've had, I'm going to say we would deny this as submitted, and only saying deny in the sense that you and I and the committee would understand that we're going to need this express language from the general manager. The Sudden Valley will have to draft up, and I think it's been drafted up before, so I don't think it's like recreating something. It'll be particular for your lot, but it will have to be attached to that lot, and to the homeowners have to be aware that penalties and fines could come forth if it became an ADU down the road.
Sounds great.
Does that sound somewhat acceptable?
Yep, it does. So when, so you're saying it's denied right now, when would,
Well, first we got to get the committee to agree with this. And if the committee doesn't agree with it, then it'll be a flat out denial, but we're going to deny it anyways. But like I said, with those comments and that we'll be working, the general manager would be, and staff would be working on getting you the language drafted. Committee, what do you guys
Actually,
have to say?
for me, I still have a real problem with the two entrances. It just looks like two residences. And I'm okay with an ADU as long as we have, a clear language about its usage. That's fine with me. I understand wanting a slightly separate space, but from the curb, looking at the house, it looks like it's a duplex. And if you could do something to mitigate that a little bit, I'd be happy to approve this with that language that Keith is outlining.
How
Hey,
big is their
hey,
family?
hey, Keith, can I ask a question? It's Wayne. So,
Yes, go ahead, Wayne.
so I'm reviewing Exhibit C under the Whatcom County zoning amendments, and it's saying clearly you can't have an ADU period in all zones. Number one.
Mhm.
Secondly, it's whether it's attached or detached. So in this case, it's attached, but it's not really attached because it's not part of the living space access. So therefore, it's considered detached, right? So that's the second note. And then the third most important thing is it must meet all zoning within even within the community area. So in the HOA situation, if it's not allowed, it's not allowed. So if this is not a living space, then it's clearly not an ADU. But if its intent is it's an extra bedroom, then whatever room you add attached to the garage has got to meet specific fire code and other responsible building restrictions. So if it's not permitted as another bedroom and it's not clearly separated from the garage, there needs to be some additional permitting that's required. So until Whatcom County approves it as an additional living space, and
So
it doesn't
Whatcom County has approved this as I've shown you, and I would be happy to send that approval over to you, but they have approved exactly what I'm showing you right now. And
So
like their code does not allow for an ADU. So that's why my argument is this is not an ADU because it's
so it's a shed. Yeah, so it's a shed. You can't live in it. That's what they approve.
It's attached living space to the structure.
Well, not according to Exhibit C, because the zoning doesn't allow.
I guess I'm confused at what you're saying, just because this is approved by the county. So they've approved this and they have approved it. I've been through the ADU process. This is not an ADU. They have approved it as it is right now, as I'm showing you. So I'm not quite sure I'm understanding your question.
So is it a living space or not?
It is a living space, yes.
And is it a sleeping, like there's going to be occupants sleeping in that unit?
Yes, as you can see on the site, on the floor plan, there's a bedroom shown there, and that's what's been approved by the county.
And you have fire exit going out of it?
Yes, exactly.
In the rear or in the front?
Front.
So can you change it to the rear?
Exactly is shown. I'm not sure I quite understand your question. What can we change to the rear?
Yeah, so if you listen to one of the other members, they said if you can remove the fact that it looks like a duplex and put the door in the rear, that can be considered, right?
Yeah, or on the side, you're saying?
Yeah, the only reason why you need that exit in there is for fire reasons, right? Because you can't have a fire door through the garage, right? Because what if the fire was in the garage? Then
Yeah,
what do you
I
do,
understand what you're saying. Yep, totally.
right? So to satisfy, you know, the appearance of a duplex, put the door on the side or put the door in the rear. I'm assuming one of the exits is already occupied through the garage door, so you can't put it on the other side, right? If you remove the frontal vision that's being objected here, then you might be able to use
Yeah,
that
I
same
can definitely talk to the owners about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
for sure.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Yes, thank you.
Can there be a door out the back or does it go into the
Yeah, the
ground?
topography, the back of the property is extremely steep, so they would not be able to do that because of the topography and how the house is built into the topography.
It would have to be to the side then.
Yes, exactly.
So they're gonna keep the 2-car garage?
Yes, exactly. It's shown on the plans.
Okay.
So access, Patrick, might be an issue. Yeah, so their access to that unit will be limited if they're already achieving that 5-foot 5-foot difference to the property line, right?
All right, so the motion on the table right now, so we're gonna stick with the deny thing as we discussed. And that's strictly just to get our wording and everything correct on the proper documents that Sudden Valley is gonna want. So the motion on the table would be deny as submitted. And because of that ADU, right? We want nothing to do with an ADU. We don't want it to look like an ADU. And then the comments over, we move the door from the front so it doesn't have the duplex appearance. So it doesn't look like a separate entrance with a doorbell and everything else, which is exactly what it looks like, right? A separate front door. We don't want it to look like that. And then we'll have to get the language drafted for the no ADU language. That will include, like I said, I was told they will be hunting down fines and penalties for people that mess with the ADU policy. So just so you know, and then that would be the motion on the table. And I'll make that motion unless anybody else has any additional comments. And then if not, then I need a second.
I can second the motion.
Okay, so that's Keith and Daniel. All in favor with denial with those comments?
Aye.
Is that unanimous? It is, I believe. Wayne?
Aye.
Okay, yeah, so that is unanimous. Okay, and Diane, you got all that, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Emily, for your time.
Yes, thank
I
you.
appreciate that, and you made good argument. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right, that's nobody else in attendance. So, we do have one other person. John, what property are you with?
He was 22 Sweetwater.
Oh, okay.
Sweetclover.
I was just
Okay.
listening in. Thank you.
Okay, no
Appreciate it.
worries. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to jump back up to item number 2 for our consent agenda. This is for the approval of the 9/21/2023 ACC meeting minutes. I will abstain from that because I was not a part of that meeting. And so you guys either have corrections or you can give me a motion for approval.
I move to approve.
Patrick,
Wayne the second.
Wayne for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's everybody but me. So a majority. And then I abstained on that one. Okay. Item number 3, 13 Orchard Court. It's a fence request for a pet enclosure. Item number 3. Okay. Well, this is the gentleman we met with. So yeah, we recommended to him that pre-built panels don't always work well on uneven terrain. So he was going to look into that, but he actually had a pretty flat area. We put on here abide by all setbacks and then be cognizant of all tree roots because some of the posts that he had denoted where they were going to go, at least when he had laid it out, were very close to a couple of the trees, and we were concerned about that. Was there any other comments or questions on that one?
The wire color.
Oh, the wire color. Very good. It did not say on here, did it? Oh, it's black. That's what it was. So we'll stipulate black. He said it's per the picture. So the picture is black. We can say black or green, just in
Yeah.
case he gets there and it's green. Okay, black or green mesh, also known as deco mesh. It has to be black or green. Okay, so then, so the motion on the table would be approve. We're just gonna abide by all setbacks, cognizant of tree roots, and be careful of pre-built panels. And I guess I will make that motion since I already stated everything. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
All right, Joe Jean, you got in there.
Do we want to include that it has to be either black or green?
Yes.
We included.
Yeah, we have that. That is in there on our comments, black and green, and abide by all setbacks. And be cognizant of tree roots on the post. So those are our comments.
And be
And if
careful
wrong-
installing it because he lives on a cliff.
Yeah, no kidding. That was scary. All in favor of that with those comments?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, item number 4, 18 Nighthawk Circle, exterior paint and roof. Oh, this one we had a question. They're not here either.
Well, Diane gave us some drawings. Did you see those?
I did not. How
Yeah.
did it look to you guys?
Well, it's pretty explicit in our regulations that we can't have a two-tone, two-material roof.
And is that I didn't
That-
let me look real quick at what she sent.
That appears to be what they're proposing.
Yes, let me Nighthawk. Is this, let me see what she sent.
Diane even found the section in our video where we talked about this originally.
Yep.
Very good, Diane.
14.6B.
So it is a 2-story next to it, but then they're projecting that one up to it. So it hips over right to the house. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter what I think if you guys feel something different anyway. So it is a 2-story addition up there. So it is going to be above it. But not as high as I thought based on this picture. So like Daniel says, you will see both at any given time, I believe. That would be my concern. If you only saw one part of the roof, like if you only saw the metal portion, the low portion from the drive, you probably wouldn't even notice that the top is a different roof.
And well, also that there's that path behind their house too, so there'd be a lot of people seeing that. So
Yeah.
they can't win.
No, you're right. Good. Thank you, Diane, for digging that up and sending that to us. I
Sure.
appreciate that.
I'm looking for that. I don't find that drawing.
So she sent it out yesterday, was it? Let me move out of here. It was sent out at 6:52 p.m. yesterday. No, not yesterday. Tuesday night. I'm going to forward it to you right now, Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah, should be coming over. I'm gonna move you over to the screen. Did it come across yet?
No, I haven't gotten it yet.
It says it went. So yeah, you get that and look at that one. So two things on there for me.
Can you see my screen, Patrick?
Oh, there you go. Screen share. Why didn't I think of that?
I guess this is the front.
Yeah. Yep, that's the front.
So I guess this would all be the original tin metal roof?
Yes, yeah, that
And
would be
this
the
would be
original.
asphalt.
And that would be the asphalt shingles up there. So you really,
All right, now I've got it.
you're gonna have that gable end, right? You're gonna see that end. And you might see that side though too, Daniel, like you're saying, as you're driving like the way we drove in there, right?
Yeah,
You drove in there, you'll see the lower portion. I don't know that you would see that top portion, but probably you would.
Well, you've got 4 different sides to see it from. Front, back, sides.
And the lakeside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta agree with Daniel on this, I'm thinking.
And it's pretty clear in our regulations that we can't approve that.
Yeah. All right, well, I tried anyways, but I have to agree with Daniel. It's just, and it's a small enough roof that it shouldn't be like too cost prohibitive, right? I mean, the asphalt shingles versus metal for that small portion, instead of replacing it all with this, they can replace that one new portion with metal to match the existing.
But I think their paint colors for the trim and the siding look pretty good.
Okay, so, all right, so give me your motion. Sounds like you're moving to approve the paint colors.
But we have to have the same roof as the original structure.
Paint colors, deny asphalt roof.
Correct.
Yeah, match existing. Match existing roof. Okay, so the motion on the table by Daniel is move to approve the exterior paint colors have been approved, but deny the asphalt shingles on the new portion of the residence or the addition. And we want it to match existing roof. Does that sound
So-
accurate?
So just one sec. So Keith, we're denying based on the different colors of the roof, right? That's
No.
what the,
And material.
Materials, it's some different materials. So the metal roof is existing, so they have a standing seam metal existing roof now. And the addition they're adding, they originally proposed a metal roof to match, everything was gonna all match, and now they're proposing to come back with an asphalt shingle roof on the addition and leave the metal roof on the rest of the structure.
okay, so we're denying based on different material and different color, correct?
Correct.
Correct, but mostly it's material at this point. The color would have been an issue only because asphalt shingles don't come in green, although they might.
You can get them painted, powder coated, right?
Yeah, who knows? So yeah, that's the motion on the table.
Okay. So whoever made the motion, I can second it. Wayne to second.
Okay, so that's Daniel and Wayne for the second. All in favor with that motion and comments?
All right.
Hi.
Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, item number 5, 92 Grandview Lane, exterior alteration. This was to put this parking cover over a car thing. And I think we were all in agreement on that was a denied as submitted. That's just my opinion and my recollection. Is that correct?
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So the motion on the table, and that was 92 Grandview. And I'll go ahead and make that. That was Keith denied. Who made this? Who seconded?
I second.
That's Patrick or Daniel, excuse me. And all in favor with denial of that particular covering.
aye,
Okay. Is that unanimous, Wayne? I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Aye, so that is unanimous. That has been denied. Okay, item number 6 we heard. Item number 7, 31 Sudden Valley Drive. It's a fence. This was actually, I think we were like the way they structured this to try to get some privacy at the same time allowing for some open space in between there. So I think we all were liking your idea on design there. Did you guys have any other comments or questions? It's only 4 foot tall. We like that. We like that the slats are got 2 inches gaps in between them, so it gives that open space feeling as well, and also, like I said, affords them the privacy they're looking for. Any other questions or comments on that?
no,
For item number 7, 31 Sudden Valley Drive.
I move to approve.
That's Patrick.
I'll second.
Joe Jean for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, now item number 8, 55 Valley Crest Way, a variance. This is so again, so out of courtesy, we want to let them know, yes, we're looking at your variance. And based on our committee's findings, we're going to deny that variance, but we'll go more in detail on that. But more importantly, too, we wanted to let you know, whoever's property this is that we do not allow ADUs. And you might listen earlier to the ADU situation, nor do we allow businesses to operate out of home like you're actually appears to be setting up a complete business here. That wouldn't be allowed either. So just to let you know on that, whenever you do listen to this, that you'll be aware of that. You'll need to address that as well. But we're just looking at the variance today. That's all they're submitting for. So the variance request, how do we feel about that?
Move to deny.
Okay, that's Joe Jean. Can I get a second?
I second.
That's Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. All right, so Diane, basically, like you just heard, we're denying the variance, but out of courtesy, we want to let them know they could be facing some uphill battle with their design. If she's still listening. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay, item number 9, 20 Sweetclover Circle. I always want to call this Sweetwater. I do not know why. 20 Sweetclover Circle. It's hard for me to say. Item number 9. Sweetclover. Oh, this is the one he's switching the door to the other side. So can we get a motion on that?
I'll move to approve.
That is Joe Jean.
Second.
Second is Patrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, item 10, we have already heard. Okay, item 11, 17 Little Strawberry Lane. It's an exterior alteration for a roof. They're going from shingles to metal panels. I've already looked this one up, but did you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about this? No?
No.
Okay, can we get a motion?
I move to approve.
Okay, that's Patrick. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Joe Jean got in there.
Ah,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. Okay, item number 12, 5 Fawn Court. It's a variance request. Oh, this one was a little tricky, huh?
Diane, did we ever get a letter from the neighbor for this?
I have not received one, no.
And that was your comment last time, right? You wanted to receive a letter, so that was not received. So I'm gonna just make that, keep going. I'm just making that note. So we're needing a letter from the neighbor. Okay, did you have anything else on that one? I thought we had, I wrote down fence match appendix. So our appendix, we give a wooden wire design, look what a fence needs to look like. It's just one option. They could propose something different, but wooden wire fence needs to look like the wooden wire fence in our appendix.
Yeah, the entire run of it needs to be built that way.
Let me try to get that real quick.
Did you take a picture of that, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm gonna get that right now. Oh.
One other issue that we didn't talk about is that there are some trees there. I think they were Leyland cypress. I wonder if they're proposing cutting those down to put the fence up. They didn't mention it, but
They didn't, and I assumed that those trees were on the neighbor's property. Just by the way they kind of smushed the fence in up against it, but I don't know that. That's a good point. But it did appear like they were going to keep it. But that appendix I was referring to, it says in here appendix D, but then it's got an E on it too. Appendix D and E, examples of fence designs. So it shows the yeah, I'm gonna have to go with appendix D, only because I think it's D and E is what they're showing. D and E is a split rail, and then appendix D is a wooden wire. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. There we go. So I think E is the bottom one, D is the top one. So appendix D is what their wooden wire fence should look like. Okay, so we had the we want comment number 1 is neighbor's letter, still waiting for that. So again, this is one that technically I would have deferred before because we're still waiting for information, but the problem we're having is they're saying waiting for information, that 30-day clock starts or whatever, and then these people can take 45 days to get back to us. So if we deny it as submitted and then tell them what we want, so we're going to deny the way it's going right now. It looks like we're going to deny as submitted. We want the neighbor's letter regarding the fence approval. Regarding, how'd you write agreeing to the fence? Is that
This
how you
re-
wanted it? Agreeing
This
to,
request was for a variance to go over into the 5-foot setback to use the fence. That's there.
yeah, but
Right.
their fence still hasn't been approved yet pending that letter, right? So we still need that letter. So like they jumped the gun and they go, okay, great, our fence, it sounds like they're saying the fence has been approved, but I'm submitting the variance that someone asked for. But you've never received a letter from the neighbors. And it says right on here, we will be submitting a letter with neighbors' approval. And that was never done. And that's on their variance request form. You see that on the bottom of it, Diane?
Looking.
Yeah, it says we will be submitting letter with neighbors' approval. That was never done. And then at the same time, so Diane, so you understand what happened. We walked out there and when we looked at, there's wire fence up, but they attached the wire. Remember how you asked me, can you attach wire to split rail?
Right.
And that's kind of what has been happening right there. So they just have
Actually, I think they did. I think they attached
metal-
it to metal posts.
post. Yeah, metal post and to the split rail up front. So we want to try to direct them to that appendix D so they can look at it and see, okay, this is what they're expecting the wooden wire fence to look like. And just reminding them at the same time, their letter from the neighbor has never been received. So at this time, it looks like just me, it's going to be denied as submitted pending we get the letter from the neighbor and we just direct them to look at appendix D for how a fence needs to look, wooden wire fence. Is that correct or am I off on this?
Should we ask them what their plans are with the trees or?
You certainly can, absolutely. And so the third thing is what's happening with the trees? That's a fair question. That's what you're here for. So, yep, what's happening with those trees? Because right now it makes a nice screen, right, for the fence. But if you get rid of it,
Yeah, yeah.
screen.
I think we should make a comment that the whole fence needs to be wooden wire,
Yeah, so they don't leave part of it as the existing.
correct?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And then we direct him to appendix D. Fence
Right.
must match appendix D is for wooden wire fence.
And I think on top of that, the letter we get from the neighbors should contain all this information too, because they might not know what they're agreeing to.
I agree. I think that's fair.
Where is the fence going to be? Is it going to be?
Sorry,
within
right on
this?
the property line in between the two houses. And
So,
so go ahead, Diane.
so you're going to go ahead and give them the variance for that. Is that right?
Not at this time, only because they did not submit a letter with the neighbor's approval, which they said on their variance request form that they were going to do that. We never received that. Does that make sense?
Yep, I'm just clarifying because I have to write this down.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Yeah. So we never received a letter, so we want to get that letter from the neighbors. And then we also want to direct them to appendix D because what we saw out there isn't anything like appendix D. So they're just taking the wire and putting it up, on whatever. So we don't want that.
And the trees.
And yes, and what's going to happen with the trees there, the landscaping. And that may not be theirs, that may be their neighbors, but either way, that way the letter would cover that and, or we'd at least get an answer from these people.
So the neighbor should probably see what the variance request is, see the actual form that they're submitting, and have them agree to that.
Yep,
I don't want them to be surprised that, oh, you're cutting the shrubs down. Oh, you're putting that kind of fence up.
more worse, you're cutting my shrubs down?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so who's making that motion? Because it sounded like I did, but
I could make that motion
all right,
as
so
you
that'll
described it.
that'll be Daniel for the motion. Can I get a second?
Second,
That's Patrick. Okay. All in favor of denial with those comments?
Aye.
Okay, so that is unanimous. Okay. Okay, item number 13, 98 Honeycomb Lane, construction change, front door and retaining wall. So this one, the only color on the house was the front door, which was kind of cool to see. Not a huge fan of that color, but it actually looked okay on that house because it was the only color. So I like that. The my issue for me is the retaining wall. So this one in particular, just clarify, when this house was approved, it was approved with the retaining wall and the little planter wall in the front to be exposed aggregate, so not just left poured in place concrete. Unfortunately, they chose to leave it poured in place concrete and then went over it with some, I'm not sure what, a little plaster or a little cement or something, and tried to make a mortar or something and tried to make like a fern detail on it. And in my opinion only, that looks worse than if it was just left alone originally.
yeah,
So I don't know who all agrees with that, but that's my take. And then we kind of discussed this, but go ahead. I'd want to hear some other
I
opinions.
agree with that. I mean, I would move to approve the front door color of blue, and maybe deny the concrete retaining wall with comments.
Yeah, I agree with you both too. I think I would approve if I like the idea of the ferns, but if they just left it with a nice smooth veneer on the concrete, I'd be okay with that. I just think it looks a little sloppy what they tried to do.
well, I have a question. It says that
Yeah.
they're not supposed to have exposed concrete, so I covered it with hand troweled architectural coating. I mean, did that the whole thing, or is that just where the ferns are? What is an architectural coating?
That's a good question, Patrick.
I assume that's how they got it so smooth, but then they added the ferns too. I like how the smooth finish on it, but the imprints just are sloppily done.
And the retaining wall over by the side of the garage is in essence two colors.
Yeah, that one got kind of messed up. That
Yeah.
was, I think, him putting that finish on there.
Yeah, that's part of my problem too. It's not done very well.
Yeah, and so then the other problem I have is so the backside of that retaining wall by the garage was not waterproof. It didn't appear to be, right? I dug down like 6-8 inches and it was not waterproof. So what happens over time, that water and, discolorization is going to start bleeding through that exposed concrete. And that's the problem. So with exposed aggregate, you really don't see that much, right? Because you got all that aggregate kind of hiding all that stuff. But with plain concrete, it stands out like a sore thumb. I think that's why originally they didn't allow exposed concrete just to be maintained like that, especially in retaining walls, because over time they look crappy. They do. And then once you got all the moisture in there, then it's hard. Now, how do you coat it, right? So the idea was coat these things first before they get ruined, put a finish on there, a brick veneer, put some kind of veneer on it, do something to cover that up so we don't see that years down the road.
So they wouldn't have to dig up the backside to do that, would they? It would just be the.
Well, to do it right, originally it should have been coated before they backfilled. Yes, that's
Right.
how it would have been done originally.
But now, what do they do to correct that?
Well, so right now it's not a problem, right? So we, as our ACC, we can't direct them to do anything, right? That is something that they should have done on their own prior, but we can't tell them to do anything different now. But what we can say is we don't approve of the exposed concrete. It wasn't supposed to be that way. They knew it wasn't supposed to be that way, and yet they did it anyways.
Right.
So now we're kind of stuck with, like Daniel said, the ferns look worse than if they just left it. So now it looks I don't know what to do at this point, right? Because now you try to paint it, you can't even do the epoxy coating, I don't think. I mean, you could do the epoxy coating, we could ask them to do that, like there is a concrete epoxy that we've allowed a couple builders to try here, but we don't know how that works. We haven't 6 months it or a year yet to go, okay, that stuff's fine, or 2 years from now, that epoxy's holding up great. So I'm a little baffled. I'm okay with the door. I'm not okay with like that flooring plank going around the door, but again, we're not part of the design structure. I just don't think the elements of wood all look kosher, like so many different elements of wood on there. And with this thing, I almost think black epoxy might look good, just because they have the black trim, the black windows. I believe this one had the black frame windows on it and black trim. So maybe we ask him to put a black epoxy on there, but I don't know, guys. It's a committee decision on that one.
Yeah, this really is a tough one. I don't want to discourage those concrete walls if they're done properly, because some houses really look better with that.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
and it sounds to me like it wasn't treated properly in the back. Black epoxy on here I think would look good, and if that would solve some of the problems, I'd be okay with that. But I guess based on what you described, Keith, and the problems we could have with what we have here, I would probably deny it for the retaining walls.
Yeah. I move to approve the door and deny the retaining wall.
Already did that.
I think that was already put on the table.
You could have the second.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay, and then are we gonna offer any recommendations on the retaining walls? Like they're already done, right? They're done and in there. So how are we gonna, so to try to remove that applique that he put on there, I think is gonna make it look worse than what he has. Another option is you can go in there and sandblast it and bring it back to exposed aggregate. That's an option. I don't know cost on any of these things, and I don't know that matters, because he knew what to do to begin with and he chose to do something different. So that's not, we didn't down this path.
We shouldn't be doing design here on this committee. What we should be just saying we deny based on color or final finish, and then recommendation, if you want to add anything, is put the ferns back in.
Okay, so then the motion on the table is we're gonna move to approve the blue door has been approved, but denial on the retaining wall finish. And we're just gonna ask if we want to see other options, right? And we're not gonna tell him, we're gonna ask them.
Yeah. I think part of our, maybe we should make it clear that part of our concern is that the overall durability of it as it's designed.
Yeah,
Well,
that's,
we can't make that comment, right? That we're not
yeah,
Well, I mean, that's one of my biggest concerns. I could probably live with this if it looked like this for a while, but if it starts cracking and showing water stains, then I think that's one of the problems with this kind of wall anyway.
well, that is the big problem with these types of walls. But if they're, like you said, they're done correctly, waterproofed on the backside, typically. I have seen someone waterproof on the front side here. They've had to do that, unfortunately. And it's a wall down the street here. So the same thing happened. All the paint, they just did regular paint. The paint flaked off in like 6 months, right? Just started coming off. They tried another paint on there, same thing. That paint came off. So I think they did the epoxy down here, and it looks okay still, as far as I remember. But the crack things, and that happens, it could happen or it might not happen. So that's the problem with trying to say, oh, you didn't do it correctly. Oh, show me the data. 5 years, 10 years, you will see those cracks. You will see leakage and stuff like that. It's just common, it's what's going to happen, right?
Well, we don't have to make notes of our concerns. If they want to dig deeper, they can look at the video.
Yeah. So I think we're fine on that. So we're gonna approve. The motion is by one of you, I forget who made it. We're gonna approve, I think it was Joe Jean. We're gonna approve the front door, the color of the front door, and deny the retaining wall as submitted. Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Okay, and that was Joe Jean, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and the second was
Patrick.
Patrick. Okay, thank you. And then all in favor of that?
aye.
Okay, that is unanimous with those comments. Okay, that's 98 Honeycomb. Okay, on to item number 14, 131 Polo Park Drive, gate 13, tree removal. This is that one. This is the one we tapped on, was like, Seemed hollow. We're not sure. It was like the first one, like right whacking on it like that. I've ever heard that sound before, but that was kind of strange. So that one seemed like the tree probably didn't need to come out and could have some things living in there. I'm not sure. Anybody have any comments on that one?
It didn't seem to be a hazard. And it does look like they're going to do some other arborist work, trimming some of the other trees in the front. I assume that the county's going to have to look at this too.
Yeah, the county permit will be required. Yep. But so they don't, the county permit will only look at it as far as their coverage, right? So their lot coverage and how much tree density they're removing. So the county is going to be fine with it. Even if that tree was healthy, Daniel, the county would say, no, you're fine to take that tree out. You meet all our criteria.
Yeah.
So my thing only on this tree, and I'm not an arborist, I'll say that repeatedly. I'm not an arborist, nor an engineer, nor an architect, or any of those things. But the tree appeared to look, a lot of the branches on one side of it looked very withered and kind of hanging there and didn't look very healthy to me. There's two trees there that actually looked unhealthy. This one and the one in the front of all this looked unhealthy. The rest of it,
I think they're trimming some of those too.
They are?
Yeah. If you look at the earthworks receipt.
Oh,
invoice.
I didn't read all that earthworks stuff. Yeah, so they are. That's wonderful. I think that's great. I think our trees would be so much healthier around here if people would start doing more of that, being more proactive and trimming them and removing some of the scraggly ones and letting the healthier ones survive. So what's our motion on the table here?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, that's Joe Jean. Can I get a second?
Wayne to second.
Wayne's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, item number 15, we already heard. Okay, so that takes care of all that stuff, correct? I didn't miss any, right, Diane?
Nope.
Right, Wayne? Don't want to miss one like I did that last time. Okay, so item number 16 is a new business I added on the table. Guys, what we need to do, what I'd like to do is that we all think about who the next chair is going to be for the ACC. I am still currently the chair and will chair, I think, the next meeting. I'll probably co-chair with Daniel. And then that'll be the 19th will be our next meeting. And then after that will be, oh no, we're going to have one on November 3rd. When's the elections, Diane?
The 5th.
The 5th.
The 5th. So we're going to have one more meeting then, Thursday, November 2nd will be probably our last meeting with me as chair, or maybe I'll just have Daniel chair that meeting. And then I won't be a part of it anymore. If I make on the board, if I do make the board, then I'll be leaving the ACC. If I don't make the board, get elected to the board, then I could be reappointed to the ACC for a year term or something like that, only if need be. If you guys aren't sick of me enough yet, I could have more time to make that happen. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that we need to, I want you guys to be thinking about who the next chair is going to be. I know we pretty much know, but we want to know. And then, so our next meeting, then I'll ask you for the nominations of that, and we'll probably take a vote at that time then. So on the next agenda, Diane, I would probably have you put that on there. So we'll vote our chair. So
Is that at the beginning or the end of the agenda?
Let's do it at the end, just so if anybody's waiting and all that, we just get everyone else taken care of first, and then we'll take care of our stuff.
Can't we wait till after the election to do it?
No, I think we would say, so our next one, we would have him come in on the 19th, and then we would have him take over, I would say, on November 2nd. I would just end being chair. I have board meetings though, so I have to. Diane, do you have, what's the board sits? It's a second and fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The 26th, I'll have a board meeting, and that's our last board meeting, I think. So yeah, I think, I want to sit in that meeting. So yeah, so I have to be chair long enough to sit in that meeting. So we'd have Daniel take over on the November 2nd meeting. That would be a Thursday, November 2nd. It'd be our first meeting in November. And then Daniel at that time will be chair. I will still be on your committee. I just won't be chair. So I'll be involved sitting here with you guys, but we'll have Daniel run that whole meeting and then he'll be running them. Well, I assume Daniel, excuse me, Daniel, I don't want to put your name out there ahead of
Well, I
everybody.
mean, if we vote before the election, it has to be me, right?
Yeah. Well, we set the date, so we'll just say the date. So yeah, we'll vote. Oh, before the election. No, it doesn't have to be you.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. You're correct, Daniel, and that you're the only elected member on here other than myself. Everyone else is appointed. Yeah, you're right. So Daniel, yay, but still we're gonna put it on there. We'll
By
make it,
default.
yeah, we're gonna put it on there, make it official, and then we'll do that on the 26th and we'll vote for Daniel or vote for L, right?
On the 19th of October, correct?
Oh, that is correct. The 19th of October, excuse me.
Okay,
You're correct, Diane. I'm saying the 26th, I'm thinking of the board meeting, but yeah,
Right.
the 19th. The 19th, we'll put that on there for our agenda and then we'll get that vote out the way. And then Daniel, you'll be taking over. And then on the 2nd, you will actually chair that meeting on November 2nd.
Well, but if we do it early like that, that doesn't give Joe Jean an opportunity to challenge for the chairmanship.
Well, that's true. And I've seen the banners up. So
Now,
yeah.
I'll tell you about that, Dan. You can be the,
I thought I had it out there for a minute.
you love going to the board meetings all the time.
So I could vote for Joe Jean then.
Yes. Oh, well, see, that's so you get everyone appointed then next, right in January. Yes, you could vote someone that's been appointed as chair. Say I'm out of here. But okay, anyways, if that's it, then I'm going to call the meeting adjourned at 10:09 a.m.
Did we have to vote on
Well-
item 15 and putting it on the agenda for whatever date we decided?
No, I'm putting it on there.
Okay.